Let me ask you this, how many times have you boosted the bass or the highs and it still doesn't sound right? It is really frustrating, right? So most of us naturally turn our attention to the lows and the highs. It makes also sense because the bass gives this movement the power and the highs make everything like sparkle. But have you ever listened to your mix and felt like something was missing? Even after adding this EQ, after boosting these lows and highs, well, here's one thing that most people overlook, the mid-range. It is not just there to fill the gap, the mid-range is like where most of your instruments and vocals live. So if it is not balanced properly, your mix will always sound muddy or thin, sorry to say that. So if it is not balanced properly, your mix will always sound muddy or thin. Hey guys, today we're diving into a powerful frequency spectrum in mixing, which is the mid-range. This tutorial will give you clear steps on how to focus on the mid-range and to make your mixes to sound better. But first, let me explain why the mid-range is so crucial. The mid-range is a part of the frequency spectrum between 250Hz and 6K. It is where most of the instruments in your mix live, so the vocals, for example, the guitar, the keyboards, and so many more instruments that you can find on your productions. If you get the mid-range right, your tracks will sound full, clear and balanced. Now let's go on the project and listen to this mix. Keep in mind though that as you listen, try to think about what could be improved. Well, some things might jump out, but for many people, it's tough to know where to start from. That's because when we listen to everything at once, we hear too many information. So if you narrow down our focus on the mid-range, you're going to hear what matters the most. Now let's jump back again on the project, and here you're going to see this little hack that I'm about to tell you. We are going to set the EQ to focus only on the mid-range by cutting everything below 250Hz and everything above 6K. And right now it sounds like this. You can hear the difference like right away because by removing the bass and the super high end, we are left with the parts that really matter. Sure, the mix might not sound like so exciting as it was earlier, but these are the sounds that people will actually hear the most. This part here right now is the backbone of your mix. Because you are left only with the important frequencies, you will hear how your mix will really sound without the distraction of this rambling bass or the shimmering highs that we mentioned earlier. This trick right now allows you to focus on the elements that truly matter, your melody, your harmonies, and how in general your sounds interact with each other. By the way, if you're enjoying this breakdown and want to improve your mixing skills, I have got a course that you will love. This call is the Mixing 101, where you are going to learn the essential mixing skills. In that course, I cover everything from balancing levels to creating space in your mix, and all in a way that it's really easy to understand and put into practice. Now let's go back on our tutorial, where we are going to talk about the mid-range again. With the mid-range isolated, we can get even more surgical with our cuts or boosts. Now let's go and find something that we can improve. Okay, when I hear closely on the track, on the mid-range only, I found some things that I think we can fix them. I found, for example, here on the vocals that there is too much honkiness and it misses a little bit more body. And also, I think that the instruments are taking too much frequency spectrum from the vocals in the 1K region. So let's go on our vocals, and we're going to use this EQ right now. And I'm just going to take out some lows, like something like this. And as I mentioned earlier, I found there is some hawkiness here, but let's go and find it. For example, I don't like these frequencies somewhere there, so I'm just going to take it out a little bit and push this one a little bit more, like somewhere there, and make the Q not from this one. I'm going to take it back and make the Q here a bit more narrow. And I want to see also now if I can go and add a little bit of body. Okay, it is really important, by the way, to listen while the track is also playing and while focusing only on the mid-range. Now let's go here on the instruments, and I want to go and use again the Pro Q. Let's go and take out some lows maybe that we are not going to need with the low shelf. And now I want to leave more space for the vocal, so I'm going to go here like 1K somewhere there to find this sweet spot. And I'm going to use a dynamic EQ there. And let's have a listen with both of them. And now let's go and try to bypass that to see if we can hear any difference. If you listen carefully, you are going to hear that when I enable the EQs that I did here, the cutting, I can hear now that the vocals come a bit more in your face. But let's go and bring back the track and have a listen again. When I listen, I can tell right away that the mix is more cohesive right now. By the way, if you found this technique really helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more mixing tips. In addition, there are also some really common problems that you might face in the mid-range, which is too much muddiness. This is around like 200, like 400 hertz somewhere there, which it can make the mixing sound like really crowded. A really easy solution is to go and gently cut some frequencies in this range while using your EQ. Also, it might happen that your track can sound like thin or hollow, and this is because there is not enough in the mid-range. The solution is to go and add some frequencies in the 1 to 3K range somewhere there to bring back some presence, but be careful there. If you overdo it, it will make your track sound like really thin. And the last that is also really common is that there are also some clashing instruments where different sounds are fighting for a space. For example, if you have a really high lead, it might fight also with your main vocal. So I would highly recommend you to go there and use an EQ to carve out some space for this, for the instruments, for example, or for the vocals. So guys, I hope you really got why it is really important to understand how the mid-range works for your tracks. At first, it is really hard to identify these issues, to say the truth, but with time and experience, you will develop an ear for them. I'm pretty sure about it. And just keep practicing, don't get discouraged if your first attempts don't sound perfect. But before you leave, if you want to make your vocals sound even better, check out my other video here. I go over simple steps to add the reverb and make your vocals sound real smooth and professional. It's super easy to follow, so be sure to watch it. See you there.